So everybody been sending me this prehistoric Jurassic Park ass centipede that's literally 8 foot long. In history books talking about the dinosaurs was extinct by asteroid, somebody lied. And for people that don't know, centipedes are super assassins. Literally, go look at how busy these centipedes get in nature. So one that's the same size as me is absolutely diabolical. Definitely will make me have to grab the flame.
You have to grab something, because when I see a centipede in my house and it's only like an inch long, I don't even want to be in my house. So I couldn't imagine being outside and seeing one of those. I had to go far, far away.
Thor. Because never did we ever just see this 8 foot long Subway sandwich with legs walk across the road and take up half of the road. But you know what, gang? I think I'm pretty much used to seeing diabolical shit like this. Yep, I'm pretty much immune to the diabolicalism that 2024 has thrown at me. Because a human-sized centipede is crazy.
We have quantum locking. The superconductor is locked in space and it stays wherever I put it. You see, this is quantum trapping.
That's amazing.
As long as it's
so
cold,
it's superconducting. It's frozen with liquid nitrogen.
Upside down, and I can just rotate it.
So it's actually floating above the surface.
Yeah, it's not floating. It's locked above the surface.
So you could tilt it at an angle and it would still fly around
like this, and it will just go around like this. Because I go and put it at different height. When I'm like this,
you lock it at the height.
Lock it, yeah, different height, different configuration.
Right.
And I can even lock it at opposite way. So you could just hold for a minute. I'm doing the same thing. I'm locking it upside down, and then it is suspended.
Fantastic. Okay.
Now let's turn this into the world's blackest car. A few years ago, I made the world's blackest room using the darkest paint in the world called Musso Black. Now, a lot of people wanted me to paint my car with this, but the channel Dip Your Car already did that. They officially made the world's blackest car. But I'm not done yet. Could we actually make a darker car than the Musso Black car? Well, here's the thing. Musso Black is the blackest paint in the world. It absorbs about 99.4% of visible light, but it's not the darkest material. The black market just created a fabric that's darker than anything they've created before. It's called Kiwami, and it actually absorbs 99.9% of visible light. Let's see what this looks like. Driving this around was amazing. Everybody that
Man, I love to have my car wrapped in that, boy. Almost kind of look like a black hole riding around on the streets. Y'all let me know in the comment how y'all feel about that. Would y'all wrap your car in that?
I drove past just started staring at the car, because you can't quite tell what you're looking at. It's so black it just looks edited. Only when you get a little closer and feel it, you can tell it's actually a fabric and not paint. This is so cool.
Breaking news all around the world. If you don't know what's going on, you are going to want to watch this, trust me. Make sure you share this video with a friend, because if they miss this, well, it's literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so you won't see it again. And for that matter of fact, neither will your grandkids or great-great-grandkids, most likely. So, in the movies, you see photos like this, which looks like a break in time and space, and it's incredible. I mean, it's like a wormhole opening. You wouldn't ever see that on Earth, right? Well, normally, no, but this is actually a supernova explosion, which is pretty damn rare, and it's happening soon, but not like a normal one. What do you mean? So, supernova explosions happen roughly every 80 to 90 years, so still, even that's rare. But they typically aren't visible to the naked eye. You'll need some kind of telescope or to look very, very deeply into the distance, and it's not going to be clear. Now, the last time we saw one was 1987, and the time before that, when it was actually visible to the naked eye, was 1604. Are you mad? Now, they are saying this is literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because, as I say, it is just that rare. You are never going to get another chance like this again. Like, look, this is what they said. Typically, novas are so faint and far away, you can't even see them. But this one will be really, really close, and everybody from on Earth will be able to see it if you look up. And yeah, it will literally look like space is breaking or it's a Fortnite event, so yeah. Now, we don't know exactly when it's happening. They said anywhere from now until September, but in breaking news in the last couple of days, they've said it's going to be visible in the next few days or weeks, so a lot sooner than we actually expected. Make sure you hit that follow button. I will keep you updated.
Man, it seemed like every other week they coming out with a once in a lifetime thing that we seeing in the skies. What's really going on here?
Excuse me, sir. Hey, do you know what year it is today? 1998. Why? Guys, I'm in 1998. As you can tell, Kami, I'm at Pizza Hut in 1998. I'm going to show you what Pizza Hut looks like. This is going to blow your freaking mind. Let me show you something. Guys, how do you deny this? I'm literally here, guys. I mean, the salad bar at Pizza Hut. You haven't seen this since like 2000. Guys, look at these lamps. I mean, I'm literally here, guys. Check it out. Oh my god, look at the old dining experience. Let me show you something that's gonna really, really blow your mind. Check this out. You haven't seen this in a long time. Guys, we even have an old school arcade. Well, it's not old school right now. It's old school to me. One of them's from 96 and the other one's from...
What y'all feel about this? Y'all think that somebody just recorded this in 1998 and just edited it? Or you think he just found like an old one? Or is he really a time traveler? Leave your comments below.
94. Let me go ask someone what year it is. 1 second, watch.
Don't ignore these signs from the universe. They could save your life. Now, we are always in tune with the universe. We are connected to the universe. There is not 1 second or millisecond that the universe is not watching you or looking out for you. If you are in a dangerous situation or you're about to be put in a dangerous situation, the universe will give you very clear signs. Sign number 1, if you're trying to go somewhere, but then all of a sudden everyone around you is diverting you against it. And it's not because they're purposefully doing it, it's just that coincidentally things are happening in which they're trying to pull you away from that certain situation or person. So for example, if you were wanting to go to a concert, but then a family emergency happened or a friend needed emergency help and you ditched the concert for that friend or that relative, and come to find out that concert maybe had like a gas leak or something really bad like a shootout. If it's not your time to go yet, the universe will always find a way to divert you. Another sign is dreams. So this actually happened to me recently. Freaky. A couple months ago, I was supposed to go to Tulum, Mexico for a solo trip. I do solo trips a lot. Nothing really ever happened to me, but for some reason, I just felt like I shouldn't go this time. And then I had a dream that these 2 men were trying to break into my apartment and they were trying to kill me, but I managed to push them off of my balcony in which they were trying to get me. But then somehow I just felt like I didn't actually finish them off, like they were going to come find me in Mexico. A day later, my mom has the same exact dream. Mind you, I never told her about the dream. I kept it to myself, and then she dreamed about it. And then the next day she was like, I don't know why I feel like you shouldn't go to Mexico. I had this dream about these 2 men trying to kill you, and they were trying to come into your balcony. Needless to say, I didn't go to Mexico. I wasted couple $1,000, but I didn't care. My life was more important. If that wasn't a warning sign from the universe, I don't know what was. The third sign is physical signs from the universe, like billboards, car plates, posters. My favorite example is this. If you look clearly, it says on the car, it says breakaway 7777. 7 is a very spiritual number. It talks about spirituality, ascension, and it says breakaway. And guess what happened to me when I saw that car? I was in a very toxic relationship with a narcissistic, sociopathic guy who I didn't really figure out was a narcissist till the very end, but like the universe was already starting to warn me, like, you need to break away from this guy. He is not good for your spirituality. I remember like showing the guy I was dating this photo. I was like, I saw this today. What do you think it means? And he kind of looked a bit worried, like he knew the universe was watching him. The last sign is videos or quotes on the internet. If it fits exactly your situation and it's almost like a warning sign, take it as a warning sign. The universe is always watching out for you.
The worst amusement park accidents, part 2. At a Kansas City water park in 2016, 10-year-old Caleb Schwab was riding the world's tallest water slide Verrückt when disaster struck. The boy was erroneously placed at the front of the raft with 2 heavier passengers behind him, causing a weight imbalance that sent the raft airborne. The 3 passengers struck the metal frame that holds the safety netting in place and suffered some gruesome injuries.
I think I've seen this on TV one time. It was pretty gruesome. It made me kind of scared to go on water slides for a while, I'll tell you that.
A 32-year-old woman broke her jaw while her 25-year-old sister suffered a facial bone fracture. But their injuries were minor in comparison to Caleb's, who was instantly decapitated by the impact. The two women remained on the raft, while Caleb's lifeless body floated down the rest of the slide behind them. The lifeguard pulled the boy up to administer CPR, only to realize his head was gone. Ensuing total chaos at the park as staff had to shield Caleb's body from his family. As it turned out, the engineers who designed the ride had no prior experience in engineering or ride design. Caleb's father also happened to be a local politician who helped make it easier for theme parks to get rides approved before this disaster.
Always decline the body scanner. Yes, always opt for the pat down. The body scanners at the airport emit so much radiation. It's not even funny. There's so much that the people who work next to the body scanners have, it's like a 20 or a 50 time higher chance of coming down with brain cancer, tumors, and all types of issues related to their mind. The agents who work next to those scanners,
Man, they using them x-rays to see through your clothes, so I'm pretty sure it's a lot of radiation coming from those.
are all getting sick. They're always replacing those people all the time. So anytime you're going through, whether it's, the TSA pre or whatever it is, other side, the general side, any of the sides, whatever it may be, just always ask for a pat down so that you don't get bombarded. And the reason I say that too, the scanner hits you with the radiation. It can actually cause you to get really sick, right? Your body just got cooked. So a lot of people, when they're getting ill while traveling, it's because of they're getting radiated before they get on the plane, after they, and then let's say they get back on the plane to go somewhere else or whatever else, then they get radiated again.
Hey bro, something ain't right with that sun, man. Like, I don't think it's organic heat. Like, it's not natural heat. Like, they microwaving us with that. They did something to the sun and they microwaving us. Like, I think it's shooting out microwaves. Like, I haven't seen like the patterns on the ocean or something like that. It's definitely a frequency that's not natural.
I can tell you, man, that something has been beaming a little bit different lately.
And I seen videos where the sun is pulsating. Man, that thing is shooting out microwaves. They trying to cook us. And I would recommend detoxing from heavy metals.
What was that? Okay, just wait for it. Watching Fox. And something just flew by these military planes. What was that? Watching Fox.
Hey, that's definitely something. Military, is it ours, man-made, extraterrestrial? Who knows? Leave a comment.
Something just... Okay, just wait for it. Watching Fox. And something just flew by these military planes. What was that?
Have you guys seen this experiment where you can not only test if the people around you are NPCs, but if you yourself are? Check this out. And if you don't know what an NPC is, basically in the video game world, it's someone that's not being controlled by a person, just a random computer generated thing. And in the real world, same thing, maybe just someone that's not being controlled by a soul. So I heard this experiment on a podcast, and I thought it was kind of crazy until I tried it out myself. And it has to do with apples. And you can probably use any object, but for our purposes, we're going to stick with apples. So there are going to be multiple layers to what I'm going to ask you to imagine. And depending on how far you can imagine it, might just depend on if you're an NPC or not.
Hey, first before we go on further, if you're an NPC, go ahead and drop NPC in the chat, man. Just playing.
So with this blank screen, I want you to picture a red apple here. Can you picture a red apple? If you can, great. So far, you're not an NPC. Next, I'd like you to think of that red apple, and in your mind, you can close your eyes if you need to. Think of that apple as green. Can you change it to a green apple? Can you see a green apple without looking at it? Now stick with me. We're getting to the good parts here. If you can picture a red apple and then a green apple, great. But here's where a lot of people get stuck, and I'm taking away the image here. I want you to picture that green apple in your mind. And can you go in and can you pick up that apple? Can you manipulate it? Can you move it around? Can you, in your mind, be holding it, and then all of a sudden it turns from green to purple?
Can y'all do any of that?
Do you have the ability to do that? Because for me, I could, no problem. I could hold that, I could throw it, I could take a bite of it. Anything I wanted to do with that apple, I could do in my mind. But the shocking part was, as I was listening to this on the podcast, one person, they were stuck. They couldn't do anything but change colors. They couldn't grab it. They couldn't manipulate it. It was stuck there. One person couldn't even change colors of the apple. But I didn't believe this until I tried it on my wife. And my wife, she could change the color. She could go green and red, but she didn't have the ability to manipulate that apple. She couldn't grab that apple. She couldn't throw that apple. I'm juggling this apple. I'm doing all sorts of things with it. Hers is just a stuck image. And I thought that was nuts. I thought just because I had the ability to manipulate things in my mind and control things, that everybody did. But clearly that's not the case.
So if he's saying if you can't do that, you an NPC, and you just found out your wife is an NPC, what are the further steps to go after this?
And this leads me down the path of maybe this is why some people can't grasp the topics or the understanding of not living where we've been told we live our entire lives. Because they can't visualize it. They can't think outside the green and red apple. Now, I'm not actually saying my wife is an NPC, but I do think our brains operate differently. I do think some are more right, some are more left, some are right down the middle, and some just don't really choose to think. But try it out, guys, because I found it fascinating. And I would love to hear how you did during this little experiment. Put it in the comments, test it on the people around you, and let me know, because I want to know if I'm in the majority or if I'm in the minority. But something tells me I might be in the minority. But guys, as always, this is all for entertainment purposes. I don't really think my wife is an NPC.
Tyler, can you come here?
This is the heaviest element ever photographed. It's Einsteinium-253, and it has a half-life of about 20 and a half days. And the reason it's so grainy is because of the radiation it was giving off. But it's not the heaviest element that's ever been made, it's just the heaviest element that we can make a lot of. This is ye olde periodic table, and we can see all of the elements that have been synthesized. The one I just showed you, Einsteinium, is right there on the periodic table. But there's a whole bunch of other elements that have been synthesized, including fermium, which is one higher, a whole bunch here, this entire area here, all the way out to oganesson here, with 118 protons in it. And generally speaking, the heavier the element, the more unstable it is. That's why the heaviest element that occurs naturally has atomic number 92, it's uranium. And all of the heavier elements get more and more radioactive, more and more unstable as you increase the amount of protons and neutrons. The reason for this is that inside the nucleus of an atom, there's two competing forces. There's the strong nuclear force, which is a very, very tight but short-range force, pulling neutrons and protons together. And then there's the electrostatic repulsion that pushes protons apart because they have the same charge. The smaller the nucleus, the more the strong nuclear force can have an effect, because the strong nuclear force acts over smaller ranges. As the nuclei get bigger and bigger with more and more protons and neutrons, the strong nuclear force has less and less of an effect, and the electrostatic repulsion pushing the nucleus apart has a bigger and bigger effect. Eventually, the nucleus just falls apart. Nonetheless, we're left with the mystery of how is it that huge elements, like lead-208, can be stable, yet have so many protons and neutrons? For comparison, if the helium nucleus was the size of Pluto, the lead-208 nucleus would be the size of Earth. And yet, lead-208 is not radioactive at all. It is completely stable. And you would be right for thinking that there's some sort of magic happening here. What I'm talking about are magic numbers. Let's take a detour to chemistry. Maybe you learned at some point that there are certain chemical elements that have just the right number of electrons that they're completely unreactive. These are the noble gases, helium, neon, argon, and so on. And the reason they're so stable is because they're filling all of their electron energy shells. Atoms that have just a few electrons short of a complete energy shell want more electrons, and energies that have just a few more electrons than a full energy shell want to give those electrons away, and this leads to increased reactivity. And atomic nuclei kind of have the same thing. They also have energy shells. It's just in the nucleus, there's shells of protons and shells of neutrons. Now here are the first 7 magic numbers for neutrons, meaning that if an atom has this many neutrons, then it will be more stable than its neighbors. By the way, the next one after 126 is believed to be 184. Protons have nearly the same magic numbers, except the last one. Instead of 126, you have 114. So that means that atoms with 114 protons and 184 neutrons would be particularly stable. And so we get the hypothesized island of stability. Namely, some atoms might have just the right number of neutrons and protons, so that even though they're super, super heavy, they're still stable. And maybe we'll see one soon.
Oh, almost lost his head, didn't he? Could be Cap, but he's shaking like he's scared. Oldie but goodie.